Hey there, it's Mike here. We're taking a look at WithADanceNumber. He's playing Scout. I think he's an open. Let's see how it goes. So as I mentioned with Alec, you could delay in yard for a bigger buff because sitting up here right now doesn't do a whole lot and your buff just kind of decays. And pistoling that much is pretty stupid. Like the first round is really good, you know, you're gonna do more damage than scatter and you're not wasting any ammo. But you really need the scatter gun out to deal with any kind of pressures towards your team and yourself. You just kind of sat around at the first part of mids, and that's really the most important part of going up top. I mean, it's really nice that you got all these kills at the end, which is pretty good spree, but like the only reason you go up top is so you can hit soldiers for free. If you're not doing that, then you shouldn't be going up top because there's more efficient ways of doing things early at mid and getting some kills. Right now, you shouldn't be going back for your mech. You probably could take another pack at mid, be 125, and spotting yard a bit, just seeing where their trap goes up if anyone's hiding. But just going back for the med like that when everyone's spawning with him is pretty ridiculous. Right now, you have no reason not to take this medium pack. You know, you could have been there a lot earlier, and you could have spotted choke. You should have just been spotting choke the entire time. Until someone's there, then you can go get a buff. Just go get packs, dude. You're wasting time getting healed by the mech here. Like, everyone's got a pretty shitty buff, so you shouldn't be sticking around him. I mean, you don't really know that, but like, someone's got to kind of bite the bullet, and like right now, that's what you're doing is fine. You could afford to take a rocket. The pack's up. It's the same as having a buff essentially, because you're not going to commit on this. You can peek in a little bit here since your soldier was living for a while, but no bigs. Like you could even taken that roller, and it wouldn't have been a problem because you have the pack to fall back to. If they come to push into garage, it's probably ideal that you sack into them just because it's easier to slow them down as a soldier in demo, so you wouldn't want one of them sacking into them. I'm actually kind of surprised they're not pushing, but you should be spotting right pretty much all the time, because if they're going to get in there, your team wants to be able to back up, and they can pretty much take it for free like they're doing right now. But they're really slow, so their roam's already up, so they're not really going to be able to push, or the push is going to be pretty bad. But you can understand how if you weren't there earlier and they got in for free, it'd be pretty, it wouldn't be very optimal for you guys. In general, I think you're taking these buffs like at the wrong time. Someone needs to be watching this when you're going for it. And like, you're taking it way too close to the mech. The mech can come to you a little bit. Like, you don't need to be on top of him. Yeah. You probably should have rushed that guy, and there's not a whole lot of point in peeking that as consistently as you did. If you really want to kind of put up some pressure on the right, you should take the entire team there and just lead it in, and if everyone hits their shots or there's not a whole lot of damage coming there within the first couple seconds, maybe you can get a pick, and then if you don't, then back up, reset, rebuff, and then try it again 10 seconds later, or just try to move into left yard. But like, I would never really commit on the right side. So I'm just going to pause here. What you're doing is pretty good. Just want to make sure that you don't die here, because when you're up and there's like no scouts on the enemy team, you pretty much take anything until they get a scout there with your composition you have right now. So do as much damage as you can. You can see the overheal particles on this demo, so you know he's pretty healthy. Just make sure you don't die here. It's the most important thing. Just gonna resume. So yeah, you're not gonna kill him. You haven't done enough damage, and you recognize that, so leaving. I think you probably should have made sure you didn't get hit by that sticky. You kind of just went a little too aggressive, and because of that, now your soldier is pretty weak. Because the med had to stick on you for a bit. You should just try and get this point without using. Since there's already a lot of cap time, your med should just tank you in on the right, and demo just sticky you off as you cap over and over again, and you'll eventually get it without using. And yeah, when it was low number situation, I probably wouldn't separate from teams, so heading towards closet there was probably a mistake. You don't want to be opening this door so much, because if you're going to catch someone, it's as you're opening the door. They're not going to make a mistake with when the door is open. So when you're opening that door, your teammates have to be close, buffs have to be good, and you have to be taking it from like this corner right here. You can't take it as your feet, like a few feet away from the door. You have to hug the wall into it if you're looking for a kill. Right now at 90 HP, I wouldn't go for a buff. You'd probably elect to take the bottle in garage and then get a buff. But this is fine. I don't know. It's just a picky thing for me. As soon as... he should have killed you. You shouldn't have gone in after he... Like, the first 3 shots were good. And then he laid a sticky in front of him, and he should have killed you with these. So, what that kind of aggression does, especially since your team was a bit slow, is they can push through Z off of your call that the demo's weak, and that alleviates a little bit of pressure just because he's not the healthiest. And you can still get something out of that successful damage trade without kind of committing in. I think it was pretty lucky that you actually got the demo there. But it was a good play. Until you kind of went a little further. It's kind of if you had a scout follow-up and you damaged the scout there, he probably could have got a double kill for free, so maybe that would have been a better idea, but I don't even know what's going on here. They just fucked up there. But yeah, it was a good play too. I don't know. Like, I prefer... it seems like you just kind of do things without your team. And the thing about Scout is it's really kind of great at working with a bunch of people. Like, you have the most utility. You can put damage anywhere at any range, and it's pretty consistent. So the more people you're with, the more, like, pushes you lead. It takes a lot of pressure off of everyone else, so that's really good about Scout in this aggressive kind of role. And right now you don't need to be worrying about this point. You should have focused the Scout that got launched behind you. Soldiers at low HP unbuffed aren't going to do a whole lot to you. But a Scout could potentially meat shot you, kill your team. Like, you never want to just let a Scout live, especially if you know he's taking damage because he got splashed behind you. Just speed up until you get to mid. Yeah, so let's see if you play up top a bit better this time. So this is fine. And then you just need to scatter. Yeah. Like, this is not good enough, dude. You're doing nothing at all. Like, you could kill both those soldiers with these. Their scouts are on the ground or just not putting up that much of a presence. Like, you can't afford... Demo is not going to be behind you at 14 HP. And it doesn't, like, hurt to look over here, but he's not going to be behind you. Yeah, you shouldn't be pistoling more than one clip at the beginning of mid, because the purpose of being up top is to actually, like, shit on the soldiers. You should, or your scout partner should be going through here first, just because, you know, dying to stickies isn't that big of a deal for a scout. And you can really abuse the fact that healing scouts is a little bit more efficient than healing soldiers, and you're likely not to take that spam. And this push was just, you know, standard, not a problem. But yeah, it could have been a bit smoother at the beginning. Health-wise, it's a little bit better if scouts go ahead first, because it's more consistent for the mech to stick on a scout because they're unlikely to die very quickly, so they can't get, like, focused down really hard. And because of the pressure a scout puts up at max range from the medic, the soldiers can kind of get in for free, so their buff is maintained, and then the scout's likely guaranteed to have a buff for the push because he's the first one getting healed. So this is like you need to be killing these guys in the air, not when they're on the ground. You know, you're not really doing a service to your team for just cleaning up all this damage. Not to say that you're not, like, 1v1ing very well, but at the beginning of the minute, it's just crap that you're pistoling all the time. Like, one clip only, like I said, is totally sufficient. I don't even use pistol on it. I guess I used a winger, so it definitely sucks for that, but back when pistol was around, Yeah, I wouldn't really use it that much. So you don't want to be sniping here. Like, just never want to be sniping. Into 2. Like, they're gonna Uber on the point anyway if your team's around to be killed, and if they're not around, then you don't have enough presence to really ensure that you won't die to a random scout. So it's just not very good. And then you can't really follow up on any mistakes they make or any plays that your team makes. It's good that you didn't stay on Pyro there, but I think an off-class would be kind of decent in this situation. Until your soldier gets up. Actually, no, it's fine. I'm stupid. Yeah, you're right. You want to be buffed. Like, you want to leave the medic as this roamer comes in to get a buff. Just for the timing of the push, I really think you guys should wait on your roamer a little bit. And right now, you need to peek lower. And as long as you exist here, there's enough time for you to kind of fight on last, back at that shower door. I don't think you want to be going into them. It was probably much more consistent for your entire team to take yard for free, and then kind of force them from there, coming through that alleyway there, or going in front of garage, just sending one person in them and backing up. You probably only lost one person, and honestly, that scout shouldn't even lost to you. He probably should have shit on you because he had the mag on him. So that was just kind of a really bad play to take. But as a team, I think you guys should have gone to the right. So you guys have advantage, and you just got it. You want to be with the medic. You never want to be pushing first, so it makes sense to get with the medic. Well, you want to be pushing first if you're with the medic. So in the event that you end up leading because the position at choke, I'm gonna pause for a sec because that was a big mistake. But in the event that you end up leading because you're at choke and the position is favorable for leading, then you lead. And in the event where you're not leading, you get this big buff right as they're about to push, and then you push into garage, and anything there you have like the most optimal health for it because you just came from a medic. As long as their medic isn't there, you pretty much know that your buff is bigger than theirs. You kind of have a general good idea about their health. And it just helps a little bit for pushing in, avoiding any random spam that comes out at the door as they're retreating. So it just makes sense to hit up the medic right about before you're going to push, because both situations, when you're with the medic and when you're away, is just much more beneficial for everyone. And then this mistake, overcommitting, like, you kind of have to understand the extent, like the extent pressure of your Uber, I guess. Like, you had a really bad Uber there. You obviously didn't see a whole lot of it because you're in garage, but you kind of have to take what's given to you. Your team just Ubered really early, and there's nothing you can't pressure them off of that. Their health's worse than theirs because you're pushing into them, and on top of that, they don't have, they're just gonna be stacked up, and you're pushing into them. They're just gonna shit on you. Like, you just gotta take that mistake and run with it. Instead of dying here, you should have looked to force them in garage or the right side as they were coming in, and then have your team slow them down a little bit during the Uber, and hopefully you respawn in time that you guys can push with your Uber and leapfrog into them, and hopefully not use then. Just gonna resume. Fast forward. Your team should probably be leaving. Okay, so yeah, they had a really bad Uber here, it looks like. And they did the same thing you did. You shouldn't have taken that damage. Like, just kill him, but don't. Like, you don't need to take the damage. Now you're really slow. And you picked up the pack already, you haven't realized, which is unfortunate, but yeah. You guys should be going. Their demo shouldn't have a chance to sticky up yard, basically. I'd be looking to take yard off of killing the demo man there. So because you took that damage, and because you didn't really lead through choke, I would say that's probably why you guys had to Uber early, or just because your mech was a little bit scared when you didn't need to be, because there wasn't a whole lot of pressure created, which would be alleviated by pushing choke. Yeah, I just think that you shouldn't have taken the damage from the demo, because you should be more forward looking, just looking to push off of that. And from an aggregate health standpoint, that was a pretty big mistake. This is good. You needed to dodge that rocket though, like just a little bit, like line of sighting with the boxes there would have worked too, just to still keep pressure on the scouts. And this is really bad. You shouldn't have even gone upstairs. You shouldn't have pushed into them that way, taken health pack and then backed off into Z, and then continuing forward after that is just silly, because you won't win a 1v1 there. So at most you're just delaying your spawn. You're very fortunate that they sent everyone back for you, because most teams would just send one person there, shit on you, and then push. So it's better to take the risk of going back into them, fighting a bunch of people at once, or getting the pack again so you can have a more fair 1v1, rather than getting behind them to see if you can do something. So you should be going L here because your team's doing very, very well. Just because if someone's pressuring that door, you can get into them without the risk of really doing a disservice to your team, because you probably won't die since you have people around you, and even if you do lose the damage trade, you're going to, I don't know, you're just going to hook up with your mech anyway, so it's not a problem. And that last was pretty standard, not a problem. Alright, gonna fast forward. In general, like, you get aggressive without buffs and without support from your team, and it's really easy to lead your team with aggression, and that automatically syncs up everyone, and that's what I would be looking to do as a scout. And then I think you're way too passive on mids, definitely. Alright, so it's live now. See if you do the pistol again. Okay, so this is fine. I don't mind using extra clips when they were going garage. And you can kind of tell that they were going garage because you didn't hear a whole lot of rocket spam from choke, which would have happened a bit earlier. Right now, okay, this is a big mistake a lot of people make. When you're chasing down that demo, you're not doing a whole lot of damage to him, right? So you have a lot of room to, like aiming at him doesn't really matter, because your shots are just going to do the same amount of damage pretty much regardless from that range. So you should be looking around between shots when you're shooting at that demo. And so you're way too far ahead of your team at the beginning of that. I'm going to pause for a sec. Like, I don't know if you just expected to cap it for free, or you were actually looking to fight there, but it's a lot better for you to push with your team and make sure that everyone's safe and just have a really healthy composition in terms of like damage, like Demo Man, Soldier, Scout. So you can't really get screwed by any 1v1s. Like, you're looking to avoid 1v1s when you're winning, because you're already winning, and taking any unnecessary risk is a big mistake. So you just want to cap with your team. Like, ideally, you guys would open the shower door together, clear yard after you've after you've cleared yard, and then you would get on the point while your demo's taking you off, and Soldier like protected you from shower door, and that way you take a free point, and anything that gets on you just dies. So you'd still be taking this point, but you wouldn't have had to fight that 1v1 a bit earlier. So all I'm suggesting is just delay a bit so that everyone's safe in yard, and then the point's a bit easier to cap. So let's resume. So you guys should just take last. They dropped their demo. Just get a pack. Fuck the medic. Like, fuck the medic deal. Like, this is a problem you've had a couple times, but you just need to, like, you could have been lunchbox already, taking the pack, and then been full health to push off this. They don't have a demo still. at the very least, this is a pretty easy sack in because you don't have to worry about sticks. So you guys should be looking to do something like that. Even if you assumed you have an advantage, which would be a mistake, but like you still have the opportunity to suicide in and defend with the Uber that you're about to get. So there's not really a reason not to. See, you ended up doing it anyway, but was this your guys' crits? Okay. Yeah. You don't want to, as a team, send someone in and then crits. Like the start of the push is the crits, just because it's, you know, more surprising. You don't want to go down here. And let's pause. But yeah, so the start of a crits push, you want the first person coming out to be the guy getting crits. That way people aren't going to be spamming the area. So like you wouldn't scout lead for a crits unless the scout lead got far in enough without everyone else. So he'd have to break the heal beam so they didn't see it attached to him to kind of direct spam towards him. Then that would be more ideal, but usually that's not the case. So you generally just want to lead with the demo man. So what you want to be doing up until that point is grabbing a buff and actively scouting out what's going on, so you can give your demo or your soldier, if they're close, a good idea of what's going on. Because you're going to be critting blind because you don't really have the luxury of holding it for very long, because snipers might have be around, or everyone's just going to jump on the crits. So you have to use it immediately. So that's your job as a scout, is to figure out where the crits is going to go before the push starts. After that push, you really shouldn't have died, because going down, you only went down one player, and he went down very, very early into the push, which means he's going to be spawning, probably getting forward, just because you guys are definitely going to delay them a bit at 2, and he's going to be there to defend yard. So you don't, you're not going to be able to defend 2. Getting a kill right now isn't going to help, because it's going to kind of create the same situation. They're going to be able to defend long enough that their spawn's just going to get up really quickly, and since he's so close to 2 already, that spawn's definitely going to get there before anything really happens. Like, it's just last to 2. And yeah, even the kind of class that you were trying to look for, the 1v1 there, killing a scout is not going to help at all in this situation. So, you should just understand that there are certain things that you want to fight and certain things that you don't want to fight. You had a really good yard, so I would just play off of that. Slow down 2. If you get a pick, then fine. If your team gets a collective pick, then you can sack in. If you don't, then your yard's still really good. You can work off a yard. Yard is really flexible. There's a lot of options to kind of push it to 2 and get some free picks from yard. So it's a really nice position to be in. So I never really try to give up holding yard. And you don't get a whole lot of 1v1ing someone at 2 when you already have a really good yard and you're playing on a yard, and it seems like your team is playing off of having a good yard. So I think this is not really in sync with what they're trying to do. So I'm just going to resume. Speed up. Your team should be just giving up yard. But they're actually doing pretty well. Looks like their team didn't go out together, and they're not building very well at the same time. Actually, no, you guys crits, so that's why. So yeah, just make sure you're staying here as long as possible and you know what's up. Okay, see, they crits without you figuring out where they were, so you have this fail crits, the biggest of fail crits. Don't stack this, they're gonna have it soon and they're gonna want to shit on you. You only want one person on the cap at a time, otherwise you're stacking damage and kind of inviting them to shit on you. Honestly, they shouldn't be able to got in before they had Uber, and when they got it, they should have gotten in without using it. I'm not really sure why they used, because they could have full advantage here, pick up a couple kills, and then chase your mag. But instead, fortunately for you guys, they kind of extended to get your mag, and you could collapse on them a bit. And see, here's where you've made some consistent mistakes. Is when you're already winning, you try to get more. You don't really need more, you take what's given to you when you're winning. If you have health packs available, or like, you just never want to be in a situation where you could die. Like if you had 125, you could chase and damage a demo for a bit, pick up the pack, and then chase it again if he hit you with a stick or hit you with a pipe. But like at 90, you don't want to go into him. You're already winning. Your demo man can already control the fight. It's very hard in low numbers when both demos are up to really like. I'll just pause for a sec. To really turn the fight in your favor if you're losing already, because demo man damage is so consistent, and with low numbers you're not going to be able to get on him and kill him, burst him really quickly. So if they're already losing, and especially if the medic isn't up, there's no way they can hold that. And your demo man's probably going to get a bunch of kills anyway, so if you just assist him and help him do his job, you're doing more of a service to your team than kind of pushing in and doing it yourself. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't really paying attention to what just happened there, so I really can't comment on it, but it just seems like your team in general overextends in certain cases. So you guys have advantage right now, and hopefully you know that, but since they're down a soldier, you can comfortably hold yard. No one's really going to jump in on the left, or at least one person can deal with that. So you need to create more pressure towards garage right now. Either you or your scar partner and your demo man should be actively shitting on that. Yeah, they really shouldn't be able to get into right yard. You shouldn't do this. This is stupid. I'm gonna pause. That's really bad, because that guy should have shit on you for one. Soldier or scout in there. It's not gonna work. You don't have a buff going into potentially a soldier or scout, because you saw the demo soldier med and scout go into right yard. The scout would have a bigger buff than you. He'd probably only decay to like 160 by the time he left the med and garage. So he'd shit on you. And in general, it doesn't really make sense with what your team is doing, because you guys have advantage, and the way they pushed into right yard opens up a lot of opportunities for them to push through the valley or gap, wherever you call it. Alley, I guess. And you to kind of flank behind through in the drop down area, instead of kind of this big flank where you're looking to 1v1. You never want to look to 1v1 unless you have some kind of advantage. And right there, you're running into either a soldier or a scout that was buffed. And that's not, like, this, you should lose those fights, so that was a bad decision. You're taking this corner short, or tight. Yeah, you don't want to take corners tight when you're approaching behind them. You want to take them wide, so you have the opportunity to dodge any pre-fires, and you have more, you're further away if you have to react to something. So if you take it wide and a scout's there, then you have a little bit more line of sight to break, because you're like, you would be near the crate then. And yeah, that was just a really poor flank mechanically. You never want to take things tight when you're called out, because people will pre-fire you. So either delay, take it tight, or just take it wide and be a bit more careful. Alright, so you're gonna hit up with your medic, and you just want to sit on your medic and take yard. If you guys get a pick in yard, you can move to mid off of it, otherwise you're probably not getting anything. And you should play off the Uber advantage. So I don't know if you guys are still on crits, but you should be spotting it. And this, you don't want to do this alone. This is fucking retarded alone. If you're gonna push in into that left side, you need a soldier there. That is a soldier's 1v1 territory. You don't want to go there as a scout. If you're going there as a scout, it's only like to finish off a soldier's damage or to watch it. If you're gonna trade, like, see, you're taking things tight. That was another problem. You're taking things tight when you don't know what's going on. And you never want to take things tight when you don't have a good idea of what's going on. So it's good that you got a buff there and you could push the scout that was already a little bit weak, or at the very least his natural health, because he would just pick up a pack after the altercation you had. But like you don't know what's going on there, so you shouldn't take it wide. You should take the risk of having him escape by taking it, or sorry, you shouldn't take it tight. You should take the risk of having him escape by taking it wide, rather than open yourself up to opportunity to be killed by taking it tight, because like you never want to drop something when you're defending or in a stalemate situation. That's really worse than getting a pick. It's a lot harder to push into them, even if it's 6v5, than it is to kind of defend yard at 5v6. So I'm just going to go ahead and resume. So just wait on a soldier to help you there. Me, Blank and I do that all the time, and we just go at the same time. He kind of takes the corner wide, and then I shoot, and we'll pretty much get anyone that's there. We would have gotten both of those guys and maybe lost one. So just make sure a soldier's there, and it makes it a lot better. So this sucks. Yeah, that just sucked. That was unfortunate. Hopefully you guys don't lose the round. Alright, you demo gets the scout, but your men's gonna die. You guys are kind of fucked. You might want to off-class here. I expect them to push right now. Okay, they're already in, so just make sure you damage. You don't want to run into that guy. He's already weak from fighting your scout partner, and getting close to them just gives him the opportunity to meat shot you. Where you can control the fight, maybe use an extra 1 or 2 shots from a medium range, is probably the place you want to be. Like, you can make sure you kill him without taking a whole lot of damage, which increases your likelihood of a spree. And in a really unfortunate situation, he just shits on you, and you lose last because of a lucky meat shot or something. So make sure you, in fights that you're winning already, you kind of take it at the right pace. So there was not really an excuse not to get a buff here. And you want to damage these guys. Okay, this is just you not looking at the scoreboard. You can see when they're spawning. The only goal you wanted to do there was direct some attention towards you and take their crit buffs. But instead you kind of went into them, and that was a really big mistake. That could have been a really good play if you just took the crit buffs, directed some attention at you, collected the pack upstairs, went back down, and kind of poked at them if they were peeking through closet, and that could have resulted in a lot of kills for your team. But instead you just kind of went in. Just gonna fast forward until you get there. You guys are kind of shitting on them. See, here's kind of the situation where, okay, that guy I would assume to be weak immediately, just from seeing where he is, and the fact that my team is just fighting a lot. And then the fact that you get the first shot, I would probably back up a little bit, make sure that he can't get to the medium pack near closet, and just take the fight really slow, because I don't want him to randomly meat shot me. So this stack was pretty bad. I don't know if you denied everyone, but it would have been better just to take yard. Like, if there's enough time to sticky off the forward spawn, or kind of check traps, clear places without really losing something from having a lack of players, because only a few people are there. Some are on caps, some are pushing forward. Then you should probably always push forward, and only when you know for a fact that you can deny demo or medic spawns, that's when you should stack. Or the fact where you can't do one of the others. You can't push forward and sticky something off, or push forward and clear traps and hiding spots. Right now, you still have no excuse not to be getting buffed. I think you saw the heavy's gun through the wall. I don't know if that's a Source TV thing or not. You need to be helping this guy. But he shouldn't have been in there in the first place. But if that's going to happen, I would just all in immediately and try and keep my soldier up. Because I value soldiers a lot more than scouts when playing scout, because they're really good defensively, and maintaining health on them is kind of paramount to winning. So under that mantra, I would kind of just sack in there. Plus you would do a lot of damage to the heavy anyway. Scout v heavy is a pretty good matchup. See, this is the kind of thing where you, first of all, you hurt that rocket. I don't think your team uses the original, so you knew it was theirs. Yeah, they don't use the original. And you need to take that corner wide, like go far to the right. If you're not planning on getting a kill here, which you shouldn't be in the situation that was going on because you dropped a couple people, then you should be taking that corner wide to the right of the corner and then going wide in, so you know exactly what's going on before you enter. So there's just mechanical errors that you're making. You don't want to be looking to push this without a buff on your roamer. Yeah, so you're lucky you didn't die there. That's the kind of situation where if they had brought a scout with them, like I was suggesting earlier, that kind of synergy would just, you probably would have lost you and the roamer, and that would have been really unfortunate. So you want to be more careful here. See, you're taking it a bit slower now, but I want you to go right of the door, check what's going on, and then kind of take it wide in. You're doing a bit better though, just taking it wide. I think you've realized that they're gonna start punishing you a bit more. Only in the situations you know exactly what's going on do you want to take things tight. So now you have a buff and you need to be using it a bit. You let it kind of decay from 175 to 150 without really doing anything. And in the event that you take a rocket, you want to be at the highest possible health you can be, so getting there earlier makes a lot of sense. And in general, it's kind of like good practice to use what your mech gives you, otherwise it's useless and your team's not really doing a whole lot, like just in theory. And this is really bad because a good player will pre-fire this and then they'll kill you. Like, that guy should have killed you. He really should have directed you, and then he should have killed you. Take the backpack. It takes just as long as getting healed up by this guy. Now you can take the front one. You just want to be cycling packs as much as possible, especially, I don't know, it's just true for every class. If there's a pack available and you're hurt, just take it. Okay, I don't know, I guess your team didn't really communicate what was going on there, but you need to kind of pressure a bit harder when your team's doing something. It's kind of clear they're doing something when they previously were in front of garage and then they weren't. This isn't gonna work. Yeah. Okay, you just need to worry about maintaining your buff there. You can't take that damage when the demo is peaking. And this should be obvious to their medic and their scouts. So I probably would have delayed there and taken it a bit wider, just to make sure that if the scout was peeking me, if the scout was peeking me preemptively, I would be able to 1v1 him pretty well with the corner as a line of sight break and taking my time so my distance is a bit further from him so it's more consistent. The way you do it is just kind of like, you didn't delay, so easy pre-fire, obvious timing. The medic should have been pushing towards gap expecting the flank, and the scout should have been walking into you at full buff. So taking it wider and eliminating that close distance kind of gives you a better chance of fighting there. Just gonna fast forward till you get up. But yeah, when it's stalemate that like that at 2, your team should probably be in a spot for a sec. When you're like right here, for example, and you're just trying to get into yard, your team should push right side while they clear the stickies above the garage, and then push left yard, or open up with a scout on the right and sack someone in after that, or do some kind of spam from all entrances and then sack a scout in. Like, the way you guys are doing it, you didn't really use your health properly to create like a pick. You weren't really doing a reset push, or you weren't really sacking anyone in, so not a whole lot was going on, which is really boring and it doesn't accomplish much. So just a little quick thing there. So you guys have big Uber advantage. You want to be behind the medic, because I would expect them to be Ubering now, as they are. So going into your medic right now is really good. So you're doing that right now. Don't get damaged. Make sure you get a crit heal. That was a mistake. It didn't matter, but you want to preserve your crit heal here, because it takes like a second and a half to get you to full, and Scout at 185 is a god compared to Scout at 125. It probably didn't matter based on them kind of getting shit on already, but you never want to have a push fail because you just don't do something mechanically easy like getting your crip off. So you should have gone hug the right wall to ensure that you didn't get scattered down by the other scout, and just help that guy, dude. I'm gonna pause, but yeah, just ensure that you get the crip off there, and like, you should drop down for that scout at mid. Just push towards him a bit, at least gone towards that bottle there, and let's just resume now. Like, you're not doing anything. Okay, pistoling the medic and the demo is fucking crap. Let's be honest. I'm gonna pause. So you're pistoling the medic, the guy who has natural regen. The regen is gonna fucking out-regen the pistol damage at that range. Secondly, you're pistoling the demo who's already getting healed. So his heals are... like, the medic's healing is completely efficient. And you're not doing a whole lot that decay wouldn't just do anyway if the medic weren't healing him. So you should be pistoling elsewhere if you're actually pistoling, and you need to have a mid that like you actually do things before like you use all your pistol ammo. Like you're just fucking your team, honestly. It's kind of gross. Like, you're just sitting up there. You're not denying soldiers. You're not really doing a whole lot. You're just spamming pistol. So if you don't like being up there, you don't like fighting soldiers with scatter, then you should try playing on the ground a bit, and if your team doesn't like that, you can kind of explain to them what's going on, because if they really understood that you were pisting all the time, then they probably wouldn't want you up there. So either kind of get more aggressive on the soldiers with your scatter after like 1 clip, 2 clips if they're coming garage maybe, or half a clip, and then kind of just force your way into soldiers, or just play on the fucking ground. So this round should be easy mode. They should get 2 for free. You guys can hold last. You don't need an off class, but having one isn't a problem. So make sure you get the crit heal. Heavy as shit without 450, so if you don't get it, then you're... like, don't peek this fucking door. Alright, good. Whoops, should put view models on. I don't like view models for scouts, so maybe I won't put them on for scout clips, but we'll put them on for the rest of this. So this is good, but I don't think your team should be pushing off of 1 pick. You definitely should sack into them though. In this case, since you were a heavy, your other scout should have done it, but he went sniper, or your roamer. I think that the scout is more efficient in this case, because I don't think either of them are likely to get much done, even though roamer is going to have an easier time getting much done. But just for the purpose of having respawns as close as possible, it makes more sense for the scout to go in, because he'll die quicker. So you just kind of wasted that opportunity that you're given. And this is really terrible, since a lot of combos are going to hold L. I would literally just kill you. Like, they should kill you right here, and it's the freest kill in the world. Yeah. You don't want to open doors for snipers unless... Okay, so first of all, let's just pause. So that door over there, you don't want to open it from... like, so you don't have a sightline of what's going on. Especially if you're really close to this wall, where I'm pointing right now, they're going to be able to take that corner and kill you instantly. If you're here, you know what's going on point. Maybe they have a sniper, but you just peek it in and out like this, and your sniper just has to work with that. And if they don't have a sniper, then you can leave as they peek. Like, just leave this way. Secondly, you need to take buffs more often, and I would just have just fuck your sniper. Tell him to get off that shitty class, honestly. It wasn't the worst idea if he had kind of pushed up left and peeked in as they were down a roamer, but he didn't really do that, and he just sat around and jerked off, so he was pretty useless. And I would just... him being here in general is pretty risky, because if he's here as a soldier, I'm just gonna kill him, or as a scout, I will just lead the push and kill him. Even if he's like around here, I'm pretty sure a scout can kill him just going into spawn. So that's all I would look to do if they take a shot. And then obviously he's gonna take a long ass time to get back to scout anyway. So that was just a really bad play. Not your fault, really. I mean, you played the door wrong, but just having a sniper that far up is a mistake, and putting people on doors is a mistake. You never, like, having people open a door is just garbage. You play off killing that guy a lot when you're pushing it last, especially, yeah. Especially if you have the luxury of, like, suiciding in because they have a sniper. So, you know, you can peek that door, and if you get the kill, that's great. If you peek the door and you die, it doesn't do a whole lot for the enemy team because they have a sniper and not going to be able to push. So, a bit more aggressive here, but you don't want to take this fight because you got knocked down there by the demo man. So you probably should have stopped your momentum in the air and kind of played around gap and backed up towards your pack, or just backed up behind crates. That was just not really an acceptable fight to take. You gotta know what's going on. That guy was not getting shot by your demo, and I don't think anyone had previously damaged him, so it was just a bad fight to take. But yeah, if you're up top, you want to be fighting soldiers. So I wouldn't even try to drop down, and make sure you dodge those stickies. It's the most important thing. Like, it doesn't make sense to fight someone on the ground at mid when you're up top, because you have to drop onto him. So if that guy was a bit more keen about what his demo man was shooting at, he probably would have killed you in the air as you were falling down. And right now, you can look to pressure the doors a bit. The way Blank plays this, and I play this on Scout, is you pressure the left door really hard, and if anyone gets there, you just sack into them and your team kills them. It's a better damage trade in your favor pretty much all of the time, and opens up a lot of opportunities for the demo man to kind of sticky out the point and really create an opening for people to put a bit more pressure up, but it doesn't really matter. You kind of do whatever you want on this last. The sniping, I don't know. I don't think it's that great on this last, as I mentioned earlier. Especially this close. You should never actively be looking for a pick into there too. It's not gonna fucking happen. It's not, like, look, they should have seen you like 50 times already, but they're just not paying fucking attention. And then nothing's gonna happen. And in general, you're not really hitting anything, which, I don't know. You had a lot of good shots, so you probably would have hit them on a better day. But, like, you already would have done much more on Scout. And the fact that they got shit on is just, they had really bad positioning sitting back on point, and they didn't really do a whole lot. They just, I don't know. But the sniper didn't really help that push at the end of the day. And it won't really help with defending, because they shouldn't be getting picked from that. It's pretty obvious, it's been done forever. They should be in closet or in L or up top and just not in that sight line, and then be very close to you and able to kill you with ease. So, don't pistol. You have a pick. You're going soon. You should be taking a buff. You should be taking a buff. Well, you didn't have a buff, so take this really wide. You're playing a bit more careful. Your waiting's, I guess your team's in left yard already. That's what I would assume. No. That was, I don't even know what was going on there, but that was a really bad Uber. You never want to Uber when you have a pick advantage. You should be playing in a way where your medic can get out in the event of something bad happening. This is a good flank, by the way. In the event of something bad happening in the front of the push, you should be playing in a way where your medic can get out. So like a scout lead is a good example of that, because the scout's far enough in front of the medic and fast enough that the medic can kite pretty efficiently and shouldn't be taking a whole lot of damage in a push. And since they were down a spam class, I think they were down their roamer, there's no way you guys should have, like, even fucked that push up. So that was probably on the fault of your heavy classes, and then you should have taken that buff and helped them a bit, or create some pressure on the right. That was a really bad play. He could have splashed you with some of those, and then killed you with a sticky, is likely would have happened. Could have blind dead you. He probably should have blind deaded just to prevent you from pushing him. And in general, he probably shouldn't have died anyway. I think he's just looking away from you. Okay, so if you're taking this fight, you don't want to be close to your soldier because you're stacking damage, and you don't want to be pushing in front of him until the soldier that you're fighting is like low ammo. Like, you just want to let the roamer kind of do his thing there. Okay, so just get a fucking pack. You know that lunch is clear. You can get the pack there. You shouldn't win this fight against a scout that should be buffed, because if he's pushing, he should be buffed. Like, a good player will just be buffed there. They had ample time from the roamer distracting to get buffs on everyone perfect health. So it was his mistake that he was there, and you don't want to play off other people's mistakes. So he should have like one-shot you. Even since you're surprising him, you'll get like a little bit of advantage with the first shot. He just needs to hit you for 53, and he should have been like 150. So that was a really bad play. And in general, you probably even should have got shit on by the people that were just in too. And then this is even worse because they know you're there now. Like, if that guy's not there, they're gonna send a soldier back there, and you're 53, you're shit on. Like, just take what you get, dude. You're really lucky a lot of the time, and then you try to push the envelope even further, and it's pretty greedy. And this, I don't even know what you're doing here. Like, okay, they have like something like 4 times, 5 times, 6 times on point. I wasn't really paying attention, and then 2 seconds after they cap, you go to the door, one of the doors that they can exit, and they're winning the push already. They're definitely gonna kill you, or at least you're gonna lose a lot of health, and the damage rate's gonna be bad. Like, you gotta think of things in terms of, can I get a kill here? Is the damage I'm gonna receive gonna be worth the damage I'm gonna deal, and are people gonna be able to follow up on my damage if in the event I die? Or is my damage going to be useful in any way that my team's going to be able to kind of push another part of the map because the part I'm dealing with is a bit weak? Honestly, a lot of that was just them making a lot of mistakes, like the reason you won there. Because you would consistently die in really bad situations for your team, and then they would extend either uber really late and lose people, or really early and get kind of jumped on, and that kind of won you guys the game. So in general, your mids, like, play on the ground if you don't want to shoot soldiers with scatter, or just stay out with your scatter until you kind of figure out how to, like, when it is appropriate to pistol. The rest of the times, you need to be more careful when you're pushing into chokes with a buff advantage. You need to take them a bit wider. Make sure that you can't get punished for it, because when you're taking a buff and pushing into them, it's assumed that they have pretty good health. So you can't really afford to die, because they'll be ready to push if they kill you pretty quickly, and like, those kind of pushes are based off of not ever dying. So sometimes you can get kills, but you never want to die. So that's what you're looking to do with those kind of aggressions in holds. And then I think in general, like, you just don't get health packs enough. It's really a bad habit. You're not getting health packs enough. And then you take fights just for the sake of taking fights, it seems. Like, you have to have some kind of advantage on them if you're going to take a 1v1, and you don't do that. And it's working out for you because you have a bit better aim and the people you're playing aren't very good at the moment, but you're going to get dunked on when people start getting better or start realizing that you're going to do that all the time. and that's not very fun. So try not, just like, yeah, just make sure you get health more. That'd probably be the best advice.